Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. I'm very excited because we have a very special guest today. We have Lisa Routel, and she's the Chief Strategy Officer of BioOx, and she is part of our podcast community. We also, they have a podcast on our channel, and you could learn more about BioOx and more about all the wonderful things that they're doing to help people improve their overall health and the products that have been purifying the air and the waters that they created and how it's actually helping to improve people's health and how actually people who have had illnesses have felt much better after using their waters. They've done such remarkable things and they have such great research to back all this stuff. So all this is scientifically backed by science and they've been having great outcomes. And Lisa's here to tell you a little about BioOx and also to talk about the new standard for natural health because it's making its way. People are seeing the importance of it. And she's here to tell you a little about BioOx and how it's making such a big impact in our world.
Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for the warm welcome, and thank you for having me. And I really appreciate being introduced to your audience.
Oh, you're very welcome. Why don't you tell people a little about BioOxygen? People who haven't known about the company, or maybe this is their first time clicking in. You can tell everybody a little about what BioOx is and what you do and how it's so helpful when it comes to people's health.
Sure. So, BioWox, our story all starts with our founder, Dr. Sam. So, Sam is a renowned researcher. He is a chemical engineer and he led research teams for many decades. So, this research goes back all those decades. And really, he found an innovation called ROX, ROX. So ROX stands for Reservoir of Oxygen, and they're highly concentrated bullets of oxygen and nitric oxide. And we use this ROX technology in a whole family of products. So we have our BioOxygen water supplement. So that's water infused with ROX, those highly concentrated bullets of oxygen, nitric oxide. Then we also have our bioreactor system. That's an air scrubber, a biological air scrubber. So that uses our ROX technology to decontaminate the air. So our air scrubber, it captures and destroys air contaminants like no other air scrubber on the market. It's more effective than UV, HEPA, all of those. So it's very unique and different, and it's used in a plethora of industries. And also, we have our new, now it's considered organic, certified Grow supplement. So Grow is used um, for for crops, for plants, for gardens. So it's not a fertilizer. In fact, it's actually good for the soil. It nourishes the soil. It's not poisonous. If anything, it purifies and cleanses the soil. So we're really using the power of nature and all these different types of products. And it all goes back to the innovation that Sam created and developed in the lab. And just to give your audience some background about myself, I began my career as a research scientist in the lab at a pharmaceutical company, and I created API, pharmaceutical ingredients that were used in clinical trials. And then I went back to business school, and then I transitioned to business functions, and here I am now as the Chief Strategy Officer at BioWox.
Wow, that's some story. That's amazing. I know that you were so passionate. You had transferred over to BioOx because you were just blown away with what they were doing and you were seeing the success that they were having, changing people's lives and improving people's overall health. And it wasn't just something that, you pulled out of the air. You have a lot of science to back it up with. There are a lot of people who have tried it, have given really great positive testimonials about how it's changed their life. Can you share some of those testimonials just so people realize, explain, like for the water instance,
Mhm.
explain to people how the water works, the water that you created that we drink and how it plays such a vital role in people's lives and maybe share some things that people have shared with you on how it's affected their life in a positive way.
So we've had many personal testimonials who really want to keep in contact with our customers and really follow their success. So even to take a step back, we've had several research studies at major universities. We've had a research study about hepatitis C, also about pain management, measuring those ROX levels, and really drinking our bio-oxygen water supplement that helps you build those reserves of oxygen in your system. So, I mean, really, our technology uses really what our body already has. So we already have this reservoir of oxygen in our system. But because there's so much pollution in the world these days, we're always fighting. We're fighting the toxins, we're fighting the pollution, we're fighting the fumes. So our oxygen levels in our bodies are actually getting lower. So what this does, this water supplement, bio-oxygen, it builds up those oxygen reserves so you can improve your immune system, all your different systems, your cardiovascular system, your nervous system. They're all intertwined and they're all enhanced with the rocks. So really, again, our bodies are that energy management system, and it's reverting back to energy and our body's energy response. So personally, we've seen many different examples and testimonials from customers. We had one customer who was a research scientist. So he worked in the lab, he was on his feet all day, and he had chronic fatigue syndrome. So even after just 15 minutes of standing up, he would become exhausted. So what he did was that he used our water as his own personal therapy. So he started off drinking a lot of our water. So this, I want to make a one note is that our water and it's very personalized. So a customer personalizes their dosage to their needs and wants. And typically customers find that you have to almost like front load, drink a lot of the water up front and then build that reserve of oxygen and then have more of a maintenance dosage later on. So he drank a lot of water, many gallons. And what he did was he was building up his reserve of oxygen to a point where he had difficulty standing up for 15 minutes. And then he progressed on to walking 5 miles per day. And he had to build that oxygen over time, and it stays with you. So this isn't like an energy drink, a vitamin C supplement, a caffeine beverage, where you receive that energetic boost and then it depletes you. You metabolize it quickly, it leaves your body. This stays with you over time. So we saw that. Also, it really impacts a whole plethora of diseases and ailments. And even we had case studies even with dogs, because this really goes back to the foundation of how the whole rocks discovery was discovered, because Sam initially studied shock in dogs and blood samples and those type of things. And we had even a whole supplement with bio-oxygen water for dogs. And we had a study with dogs with cancer. So it did not say cure the cancer per se, but what it did was it shrunk the tumors.
Yeah.
The size of the tumors decreased because tumors, in order to heal, they need oxygen. In order to decrease, they need oxygen. So once those tumors started receiving that influx of oxygen, they began to shrink. And then you start seeing the dogs became more energized. Their complexion was enhanced. Their coats were enhanced, the color. So vets were giving feedback. These were all good signs. And the dog eventually would pass away due to cancer, but it prolonged their life and it improved their quality of life. So you see that improvement over time using the bio-oxygen water supplement.
Wow, that's amazing. That is truly amazing. I know that I took it personally and I felt so much better. I had so much more energy. It helped when I was sick. It actually helped shorten the span of I got over the illness really quickly. And I really noticed a difference when I was drinking the water. I feel like it does play a huge part. And I remember when Sam came on the show one time, he was saying how, our body, when things are going wrong, it gravitates to the areas that need to be healed. And then when it goes to those areas, other areas in our body are kind of, they don't have what it needs in order to function to full capacity. And so then other areas of our body lack certain things, so our body is not healing. So if we have multiple things wrong with you and it's going to those areas, then other parts of our areas are kind of suffering, and it's kind of, it puts our body at risk for many things, and we're not fully able to have that full energy because everything is going to one area, the areas that need the help the most, because our bodies just know automatically, what it needs. And in order to feel 100% and to really, really be your at 100% in health, you really have to have extra oxygen in your body, because your body uses so much oxygen. And a lot of people don't realize, especially if there's things going on in their body, or they're just very active, your body is always bringing that oxygen to those areas and trying to help you, if I understand correctly, but it can't go to all the surfaces. And sometimes by having something like BioOx, where you have extra oxygen, your body is getting the ability to be able to have enough oxygen in its body to actually work at full function. And you're not getting depleted in certain areas of your body, where you're not getting the full nutrients and the full, and it's not your body is not able to actually work at full capacity.
Absolutely. Our bodies have intelligence. Our immune system have intelligence. They know exactly where we are depleted, where we do have that tumor, where our body needs the oxygen the most. And what our whole rocks technology does is using that power of nature, using that energy management system, and then using that to target exactly where it's needed. So when the dog was consuming the rocks in our biooxygen water supplement, what would happen is then exactly where it was needed, the rocks, that highly concentrated oxygen was needed in the tumor. Our body has intelligence. It would go directly to the tumor. So our body knows what it needs most. And it's really, again, the rocks is complementing that function. So I'm glad that you personally really felt energized, because that's really one of the telltale signs that we hear from a lot of our customers, that it improves brain fog, because
Mm.
our brains and our spinal cord, they consume 20% of our body's oxygen, and they only take up, like, say, 2% of our weight, consume 2% of our weight. So our brains and our spinal cord really need that oxygen. So right away, a lot of people, especially in the time of COVID, because
Yes.
COVID, one of the major symptoms was brain fog.
Yes.
Really take this water supplement over time. We heard a lot of feedback from the bottom up from our customers that really brain fog had a positive effect, because our bodies, again, we have a natural reserve of oxygen, but we're getting depleted due to the environmental elements. And even when we're fully saturated, when our red blood cells have as much oxygen as can be, we breathe like 20,000 breaths per day,
Yeah.
but really our blood and the oxygen in our red blood cells only lasts 4 minutes. We keep on breathing because we need more oxygen. Whereas if you supplement it with our biooxygen water supplement, then it stays with you. So it's really a complement to your body's natural response.
That's a great way of explaining it. And I think it's so important. I think even if you're feeling healthy, you should take biooxygen, because it replenishes the body. And you know what? If you think about it, as we get older, our bodies just, they start to decrease in nutrients. Our bodies start to change, our hormones start to change, our cells, production start to change. And to have extra oxygen consistently in our body to help us, especially when your spinal cord and your brain take 20% of oxygen, you need that. You need the extra help. You need the extra oxygen because I don't think people sometimes they realize how vital oxygen is to the body. We take it for granted because we're just functioning, we're breathing, we're doing stuff. But if you don't have enough oxygen in your body, a lot of things you start to notice a lot of things, you start to decrease in certain areas where you start to not feel that 100%. I know when I was, taking it, I definitely felt more energy. I definitely felt, my body felt better. And even when I went for my blood test, my doctor said, "Wow," he goes, "Your cell count is really good," and I forgot what cell he was referring. I think he was I don't know if it was the white cells, but he was saying usually you don't have that number, younger people have that number, he said. It was like, and I score, he goes, usually you see that in in your 20s. He goes, "I'm very surprised your numbers are so high," and I was like, wow, I was drinking the bio-oxygen when I went for the blood test. So, I think it really plays a big role in people's overall health. And I think that example of just, of the person that works with you who is on his feet all the time, that was having a hard time standing, and then he was taking bio-oxygen and he was able to walk 5 miles, that shows, how much, energy and how much it could replenish the body itself.
It is because rocks, again, it's very highly concentrated oxygen. So even I was referring to when your body is saturated, your red blood cells are saturated with oxygen, you still need more due to those environmental elements. But even rocks, compared to red blood cells, it has 2.5 times the amount of oxygen compared to red blood cells. So you start seeing how concentrated it is. And
Yeah.
so it really can then prevent different, act as a preventative measure from that oxidative stress that you're experiencing. So it really does power your immune system, powers your cardiovascular system, even your nervous system, because even stress, we have not even just like that environmental stress with the pollutants, but
Yeah.
just stress in general, emotional stress, that can play a vital role
Yeah.
in disease because it suppresses your immune system.
Yeah.
And that whole development, rocks can play a part in that as well. So it's important to keep all your systems level and in tune with each other because they are all interrelated.
They say 70% of illnesses are caused by stress because it breaks down the walls of the immune system. And that's when people find that, illness kind of makes their way into their lives. Is a lot of people, stress really plays a big factor too. Now, I know that, you had mentioned about the air scraper, and I love the fact that it's, you don't need a filter, that it purifies the air, takes the toxins out, and it scrapes the particles, down to a small fragment where you have in the machine is just a little bit because it scrapes everything all the way down, where in a filter, within a short period of time, that filter is filled, and then you see dust coming out of the air purifiers, and where that's not the case. And can you explain the difference between, the air scraper and just the regular air purifier, and the differences that it plays in in people's health?
Yes, because our bioreactor, we call it a biological air scrubber, and it is vastly different from the existing technology that's out there. That the air purifier, it really just moves around dirty air and it really doesn't decontaminate to our same level. We decontaminate from 0.0001 microns, whereas the other types of air purifiers, that's zero point 0.3 microns. So it's a whole different magnitude. And also, our air scrubber captures and destroys air contaminants. So it not only captures, like an purifier captures, but you also ultimately you have to then dispose of a filter. Our air scrubber captures and destroys. So you do use a media that you have to purchase there's a water flow within the system.
Mhm.
And from there, that water flow contains enzymes, a specific cocktail of enzymes, which then metabolize those air contaminants. We have air contaminants. It could be various size particles, even very small particles, oil droplets. We've had situations where a lot of major manufacturers use our air scrubber. So we had one that was a food manufacturer and it had a certain mint flavor and it actually needed our air scrubber because
Yeah.
the that those particles within the air were contaminating the flavors for, say, cherry and those other types of flavors. So
Yeah.
um, even different manufacturers for paint, those oil droplets can contaminate different colors. So
Yeah.
manufacturers have used it, even medical facilities. So during the pandemic, COVID, we had we still do have this client, a dental OR, so an operating room. So I mean, these were emergency surgeries. People still had to go into the OR for their surgeries. But what happened was that the OR reported to us that they did not receive any new COVID type of cases coming from their OR. So patients would wait in the waiting room and they would not receive COVID. And it's twofold. First, our air scrubber, it decontaminates the air, captures and destroys those viruses. So on top of particulates, also viruses, also certain bacteria. So it was capturing the COVID, but also what it does is similar to the bio-oxygen water, it builds the rocks reservoir in your system. So it decontaminates the air, but also builds up that rocks in your system. So that's why it's
Wow.
good to have uh, really our products. So both I have the air scrubber in my house as well as I drink the bio-oxygen water. So both those things really complement each other, but really building up the ROX levels in your system on a personal level. So we've seen that air scrubber again in medical facilities, manufacturing facilities, wastewater facilities with hydrogen sulfide that really, you know it when you smell it.
Yeah.
It captures that odor and then really improves the health of the employees and improves the health of the residents around, say, those waste management type of
Yeah.
facilities, type of things.
And it covers a very large area. So it's not like, you don't have to buy multiple ones. One could cover like a huge area. I forgot what is the square foot again of how much it can cover, like one air scraper?
It does vary because we have air scrubbers that I have one, it's called the 85. That's the smallest one. That could be 3,000 square feet on my one floor that I have here. But
Yeah.
we have larger air scrubbers where we've had air scrubbers then that cover a whole Olympic-sized pool area.
Wow.
It depends on the square footage. We
Yeah.
have sizes. We have an 85, a 300, 650. We have some really large ones like a 5,000. So some of those really large ones are for like those really large manufacturing facilities. We've had really large ones also in equestrian barns. So it really depends on the specific needs and even like the square footage and the setup of really the location. So um, it depends, but ultimately it really has various use cases.
You know what I was thinking about when you were talking and you mentioned about the air, a lot of times in residence and homes, when we are cleaning, so many people, we use the agents over the counter and not everybody uses organic cleaning agents. And even so, even if they're organic, they still have certain chemicals in them, some of them. And because the way today's marketed is that they can actually, even though some things say organic, it could be, you have to really check the ingredients in the back when you're looking at some of these products over the counter and you go into a food store. And, when you're cleaning and that spray is in the air, let's say you go into the kitchen, if you have a bowl of fruit, you don't realize, but you might be cleaning the surface. But as soon as you spray those chemicals on the surface of the table, or you're cleaning other things in the house, that's going in the air. And that's if you have outside food or any exposure to anything, that is open, it's going into those if you have a open container like a glass of water, those toxins can can get into that water. If you have, a fruit bowl, it could go on, those toxins can, latch onto the fruit. And if you don't wash it off, you don't clean it, even if you do, you might not be getting all of it, you have to be very careful there, because so many toxins in the air to begin with. We don't even realize, but even when you walk outside, the air is, we're exposed right away to toxins. As soon as we wake up and we breathe, we're exposed to toxins. When we're sleeping, we're exposed to toxins. And to be able to actually clear the air, especially if you're cleaning the house, how many times that, I've cleaned the house, and then sometimes I would use something because something was really dirty and it was a harsh chemical, and I was coughing, and it actually hurt my health, because,
Mhm.
and then that smell doesn't go away. It takes a while for that smell to go away. And, and there's times when I've had people help and they help me clean, and the stuff they use, actually made me feel like I was sick because I was still breathing in the chemicals after the cleaning process was over. And people have to, like, really think about what they're cleaning with, what agents are they using, how that's affecting their air they're breathing, the food that they leave out, are these toxins going on the food, and I think it seems to me that an air scraper could help because it automatically, if people are cleaning and it's grasping those toxins, it's scraping and those toxins, and it's purifying the air so we are not exposed, to these harsh toxins.
Absolutely, because we commonly clean with bleach, we commonly clean with ammonia, and all those different chemicals are irritants. We want to disinfect, but they're irritants to our lungs, to our eyes, to our membranes,
Yes.
those type of things. Even our air scrubber, I'm thinking of ammonia because our air scrubber is even used in animal agriculture. So say there's also a strong chemical smell with poultry farms
Mm,
because when bacteria feeds upon, this is gross, but it's true, fecal matter of chickens, it's a
yeah.
house, you're going to have that. You're hit. Farmers are hit with a strong ammonia smell. So we had studies done, you could even see this on our website, of various chicken houses, A, B, treatment versus control, using our bioreactor versus not, and you start seeing that decrease in ammonia in your air. So, I mean, even the chemicals, sometimes you're forced to use them, but
Yeah.
you'll see, like even based on studies, that we capture and destroy those air contaminants, those chemicals, those solvents with our air scrubber. So again, yes, you start seeing that there's a lot of irritants, there's a lot of allergens that are in the air, and there's just more chemicals, there's more pesticides. Essentially, all the pesticides that were ever developed and created are still with us on Earth. So what we do is we have a very powerful cleaning mechanism with our bioreactor, but we're using the power of nature. Everything we have, so we have with our rocks technology, we have oxygen, nitric oxide, biomicroorganisms, enzymes. All these things can be found in nature. They can be found in soil, and using that technology, because all that technology that you find in nature is intelligent. There's a reason why if you're not feeling well, that what do? A common piece of advice is to take a forest bath. You go
Mhm.
into a forest. Why? Because those trees are creating rocks. They're
Yeah.
infusing the air with oxygen. That's what you need. You need to use the power of nature. So that's really a key component, to have something that's powerful, that decontaminates, but does it in a smart and natural way.
That's amazing. And where do you look when the rocks that you use for the water, where are they found? Where, like, what is the process of how it's composed and how it's used in the water?
Well, our technology, it is proprietary, it is patented, but I will say this, it's natural, it's sustainable, and again, it contains the oxygen, nitric oxide, nitric oxide biomicroorganisms, enzymes. In particular, like everything is found in nature. Say one of our enzymes is catalase. So catalase, it's been proven in mice studies that it could potentially prevent and have anti-aging. It could have anti-aging
Wow.
properties. It could prevent the onset of diabetes. So everything begins with a natural element. So that's where Sam discovered a way to use what's already in nature in our everyday lives. So even how it's comprised. So with our air scrubber, we have you'll see it's a whole reactor where you have a water flow, creates a natural waterfall, and then adding those enzymes that use that electromagnetic charge to capture those decontaminants. So we're essentially, it's patented, but we're using what really already exists in nature in a new and different way. So, that's that we incorporate the rocks then into the water, into our media for the bioreactor, into our growth supplement for plant growth, those type of things, but utilizing what is already found in nature.
I think that's amazing. I get so excited when you talk about this, and I it's like the new wave of health, the new standard of health, and you have a lot of residents using it. You have a lot of people, a lot of industries that are starting to incorporate it into their businesses because they see the difference of how it's improving, like you said, improved the taste of certain foods. It got out a lot of the toxins that were produced in certain areas, like when you talked about the chickens and you talked about, the animals and so forth. How could this be the new standard for people who live at home and have families, or they're just living maybe by themselves and they just want to improve their overall health. They may want to help their anti-aging. They want to improve their longevity in life. They want to be able to not get as sick as much. The winter's coming. I always get sick in the winter, and people don't want to come down with illnesses and they want to prevent things, from occurring in their bodies. How can we utilize this in our daily lives as the new standard of health and really incorporate these things to actually improve our overall health?
I think the key is to build up your rocks, your reservoir of oxygen. And how to do it, you can do it in multiple ways. You could purchase that bioreactor, decontaminate the air within your house. So, again, that helps with chemicals, that helps with viruses, bacteria, those type of things. And also at the same time builds up the rocks within your system. So it decontaminates the air and builds up the rocks in your system. Also, as a everyday type of measure, you really can use that water therapy. So using a biooxygen water and building it, building up that reservoir over time by consuming the water. And then so, like I was mentioning earlier, say if you have a particular element like that one case study of someone with chronic fatigue. Well, they front loaded it, they consumed many gallons, like say a gallon per week. But then over time, you can have more of a maintenance amount, like even 2 ounces per day. So it is personalized and it does depend on your system. But you can have that preemptive step using the rocks technology in different ways. And then even with our grow product, where it is certified organic, if you like to grow your own vegetables in your own garden. It's a growth enhancement, so in theory, it should increase the yield of your crop and make it more robust, but in a way that's all natural and it doesn't use that harsh, say, ammonia and those type of additives like a pesticide would or a fertilizer would. So yeah, using again, just finding a way to incorporate rocks within your everyday life.
How could people get a hold of these rocks?
Really, it's within our own patented technology. So you could, again, outside of our products, really then on top of that, revert back to a natural lifestyle. So, like I was mentioning before, on top of the water supplement, again, you need to supplement because you're always being depleted in this polluted world. And um, even when you're at saturation with your red blood cells, you don't have as much as if you're supplementing with our, say, our water supplement. But take a forest bath, go out in nature, and you'll literally consume more oxygen. Our oxygen within our air, it's currently around 20%, and it keeps on decreasing. We're literally breathing in less oxygen. So really go out into nature, exercise as well,
Hmm.
really trying to eliminate stress as much as you can or even manage it. Meditation helps as well. So you really have to look at yourself holistically, because even if you're, say, drinking a water supplement religiously, but you have a hectic, chaotic, stress-filled life, you're never going to get over that hurdle. You have to look at yourself holistically and make lifestyle changes accordingly, and really exercise, eat well, because you can't have one without the other. Our bodies are holistic. Our bodies sense when, if you're drinking the water, that's great. But if you're eating processed foods with all sorts
Exactly.
of chemical additives, you're really then just maintaining a status quo.
Yeah.
You'll never get a head start. So in order to do that, you have to live that holistic lifestyle, try to be as all natural as can be, try to really be in that natural environment, and then really supplement using, say, our water supplement biooxygen, or even using our bioreactor, those type of things.
Now, you know, from our conversation today, if you really had to emphasize on some important factors, what would you say to people? We talked about how, how the bioreactor and how the water can actually really do all these great things for our bodies. And but yet we have to also realize that just like people think when you're sick, they pop a pill and I'll be all better, or and they don't get better because they're still living an unhealthy lifestyle. You have to change your life to holistic lifestyle. You have to really be conscious of what you put in your body, because if you really want that overall health, you need to I think incorporate like the water, the BioOx water. You have the bio scraper. You have, the bioreactor, I mean, and you also have a holistic, healthy lifestyle. And I think by doing all those three things, you could actually make a huge advancement in your health, by doing those things. And I've noticed it just in the short time that I've used the product, what it did for me. Imagine if you do that on a consistent basis. And I don't even have the bioreactor, but I've heard so many great things about it, and I can only imagine, the toxins, because just with the air purifiers in my house, I can't tell you the amount of toxins that go into those filters, and how those filters fill up so quickly, and to have something like the bioreactor, I think is so beneficial. When you look at today's conversation and if you wanted to emphasize on some important factors, what are some things you really like to and have the listeners, understand?
I think the key is to recognize that everyone's path is different. So it's going to be personalized for you. And even like the different examples I gave of chronic fatigue or those type of things, it, it depends on what your own body needs. Even with the chronic fatigue example, he was using a lot. Like I think it was 2 gallons per week starting off, which is a lot. And we were saying, oh, that's a lot. He goes, I know what I need. That's exactly what I need. And it improved dramatically. So, I mean, you have to listen to your body as well. Your body knows what it needs and it craves what it needs. And if you're craving oxygen, that's what you need at that point. And also, it takes time. There are no like quick fixes in our world.
Yes.
Our body isn't a quick fix. So that's where we emphasize this isn't like even how you sometimes people even have oxygen tanks, things like that. That really is depleted very quickly. This rocks technology builds over time,
Yeah.
has long-term effects. So it takes time to see those effects, but they're more meaningful because it stays with you. You aren't immediately depleted. You're not depleted with a short-term fix like a caffeine or an energy drink, those type of things. So I think you have to take the time to really observe what your body needs. It's going to take time, but it does happen. And also personalize the whole experience. And I can't say one size fits all. And it really is with really the customer and what they feel that they need. But we really like to hear from our customers. We like to hear these type of case studies. And we've had multiple research studies again, say with hepatitis C patients, pain management patients, and we start seeing those positive effects in those type of situations. So we really want to expand our awareness to customers and all the different use cases and hear their stories and personal testimonials as well. So we're really looking forward to partnering with more people in the future.
Yeah. Oh, this sounds wonderful. Now, where can people find your products?
We sell online on BioX, BIOOX .us on our website directly. And you would see now we even have a fundraiser where you can receive up to 50% off of the BioOxygen water.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, we have a couple of weeks left for that. So we're really excited. So you can find out all of our different products. They're for sale. You can reach out for more support if you want to speak to someone from our sales team for the bioreactor, especially because that's more of a capital intensive purchase. But yeah, you could purchase the biooxygen water, our bioreactor grow on our website. You'll find out all different case studies and information. There's a whole science section. We're featured in various global publications. Like even the example I gave about animal agriculture, we've been featured multiple times in international poultry production for their biosecurity articles. And then also we're going to be featured in another week or so in chemical engineering, a strong technical article that speaks to all the different use cases for a bioreactor, so manufacturing, wastewater management, those type of things. So please continue to learn more about our products and services and feel free to reach out to us. And then also follow us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We feature our videos there. We feed from the advisor, of course, and then also our articles. And you get to know our team here. And we're really looking forward to getting to know our customers.
I love it. This has been amazing. I think this is I love when you come on. I love your products and and before we go, you had mentioned that you were just certified you just received the or certification of organic for your one product. Can you just tell us about that briefly before we go?
So for our grow product, that's our growth enhancer. A lot of farmers have been using it, and we just received our organic certification. I'm going to be writing a press release shortly. You'll be seeing that on our website and on our social media channels. So please learn more about grow because that can be used not only by major farmers, but also by everyday type of gardeners. So especially if you want to incorporate that holistic lifestyle, especially if you grow your own food, that you would be interested in our organic growth enhancements. So please find out and learn more as well. But yeah, we're very excited and a press release is coming shortly. So please follow us on social media as well as follow our website for updates.
Oh, wow. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on this show. I can't wait to talk to you again. I just love hearing about the product. I just love what it does. I just, I totally believe in your product because I've used it and I've seen all the research and I'm so impressed by all the different things and how many people have been helped by it is just truly amazing. And the results from using, the from the bioreactor and all the other and the water. I just it's just amazing, and I just think it's an amazing product. I thank you so much for just being here and sharing this so people know it's out there and they know that there is a natural way to improve your health and water. What you drink is so important, and people don't realize that. Every liquid we put in our body is so important, and when you could have something healthy like BioOx that has, that has the rocks in it and can provide us with the oxygen we need, because and help us our body replenish itself, is so important because people don't realize, but it plays such a significant role in your health. Once you start getting, the oxygen you need, your body starts functioning at full force, and you will definitely notice the difference. I did.
Thank you so much for your personal endorsement and your testimonial, because oxygen is key for every system within our body, our immune system, our cardiovascular system, our nervous system. And, again, we're mentioning how almost immediately many people who have used biooxygen notice a decrease in brain fog. They show an increase in energy. And we even had those examples with chronic fatigue and cancer. So we really start seeing some positive effects if you really consume that biooxygen water over time. So thank you so much for your personal testimonial, and we look forward to hearing from customers as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on this show. I really appreciate you and what you do, and I love your dedication and your service to BioOx and all the different things that you're doing with them, and all the success that you guys have done together as a team, producing these products and really getting them out to tens of thousands of people, and by improving their health. This is a beautiful journey, and I thank you for what you do.
And you're definitely a part of it. You're a part of the journey, and our customers are a part of the journey. So we're all in it together. And
Yes.
thanks again.
Uh,
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You have a great day. I
You
look
as
forward to
well.
seeing you.